Hello everybody, my name is Neil Bakiev and I'm your IELTS instructor from New Zealand. If you visit my website, which is IELTSTOEFL.com, then you will be able to find IELTS Speaking Correction Service, where you can send your recordings and I'll be able to analyze each of your responses and I'll help you to improve your score. Today we'll be focusing on one particular video taken from IELTS Speaking Test Band Score 5.5 2025 from France, and you can find it online. So we will be analyzing only the first topic here, and the topic is free time. So this student was able to get only 5.5, and the question is what could he have done better to improve his score? Okay, because probably most of you are in a similar situation. You are really trying to do your best to maximize your IELTS speaking score, but you don't know how to do it. So today I'll help you to analyze his responses, and then I will offer you better versions. Okay, all right. Here's our question: what's your favorite leisure activity? And that's his response. He says, my favorite leisure activity is reading. Since my childhood I read a lot. I started with Harry Potter and my studies are about literature, so I like reading. Okay, so how can we improve this response to get a higher score? Okay, my favorite leisure activity is reading. I've been passionate about it since childhood, starting with the Harry Potter series. As I've grown, my love for reading has deepened, especially since my studies focus on literature, which only enhances my appreciation for books. Okay, now, so what kind of improvements have I made here? Okay, so here my favorite leisure activity is reading, and here my favorite leisure activity is reading. It's all good, we don't need to change anything. Next, since my childhood I read a lot. So here we have a very big problem, guys. We should say I've been passionate about it since childhood, starting with the Harry Potter series, or in this case, instead of saying since my childhood I read a lot, it's better to say I've been reading a lot, and then since my childhood. So we are talking about a long period of time, so we need to use the present perfect continuous here. So I began to do something in the past and I'm still doing it. Okay, and the key phrase is since my childhood, and therefore we definitely need to use the present perfect continuous here. Okay, so, or we could also use a more advanced word here, passionate, which means you like something very much. So I've been passionate about something. And here we have combined both of the sentences. Okay, so this is the first sentence and here's our second sentence. You can combine and say starting with the Harry Potter series. Next, here, and my studies are about literature, so I like reading. Okay, so here you want to make a very strong connection with the previous statements that you made. So as I've grown, so it's very clear that here he was younger, now he's grown. That's why we should say as I've grown, my love for reading has deepened. So we're using the present perfect here. Okay, plus we're using an advanced word, deepened, especially since my studies focus on literature. Okay, so here studies about literature. So since my studies focus on literature, which only enhances, which basically means improves, okay, or increases my appreciation for books. Okay, so here is our breakdown of improvements: coherence and cohesion, clear connections between childhood reading, current studies, and the ongoing love for reading. So show these exact links here, okay? Next, grammar. Uses correct grammar tenses and improves sentence flow with conjunctions and relative clauses. So here we have relative clauses, which. Next, fluency. The response is natural, smooth, and detailed. Okay, focus on this word detailed, offering a comprehensive answer. All right, now let's focus on the next question. What did you enjoy doing in your free time as a child? Okay, so this student said, in my free time as a child, I played a lot of video games. I really loved Pokemon, for example. Yes, I play every weekend, every Wednesday when I was a child. Now, how can we improve this response? As a child, I spent a lot of my free time playing video games, and Pokemon was one of my favorites. I would play it every weekend and on Wednesday afternoons, which made those times even more enjoyable. Okay, so the question is, what did you enjoy doing in your free time as a child, right? So that's the key phrase here, as a child. And that's why here, as a child. So you're referring back to the examiner's question. I spent a lot of my free time playing video games, and so you're trying to create a more complex sentence, and Pokemon was one of my favorites. Okay, instead of saying just I really loved Pokemon, for example, here I just want to say one of my favorites. Next, and here, yes, I play every weekend. So here, play, not actually play, because he's talking about his childhood, right? So here we've got I would play. I would play. Okay, this structure, would play, basically means I regularly played in the past. Okay, so when you did something on a regular basis in the past, that's what you should say. I would play, or I used to play. Okay, so I would play it every weekend and on Wednesday afternoons, which made those times even more enjoyable. Here I've added some extra interesting detail to it. Okay, all right, now, so here is our breakdown of improvements: coherence and cohesion. The ideas are now clearly linked with an explanation of the specific times the speaker played. Next, grammar corrects the tense inconsistency. So instead of saying play, right, we should say played in the past, and smooths out verb forms for clarity. Okay, next, vocabulary. Favorites and even more enjoyable are more precise and engaging choices than the original phrases. Next, fluency. The response sounds natural, is grammatically correct, and follows a clear logical structure. All right, now let's first focus on the next question here. Do people most in your country get 2 days off a week? Okay, so now let's just look at his response quickly. Yes, most people. For instance, my mother works every weekends, and yes, when you are a child, you have your Wednesday afternoon and also the weekend. You don't have to work when you are a child on Wednesday afternoons. Okay, so how can we improve this response? Yes, most people in my country have 2 days off each week. For example, my mother works every weekend, but children typically have both Wednesday afternoons and weekends off with no obligations during those times. Okay, so here he just said, yes, most people, but you should provide a longer and more beautiful sentence. So yes, most people in my country have 2 days off each week. The question is, do people most in your country get 2 days off a week? So if you can, you should repeat the whole sentence here. And then for example, okay, for instance, my mother works every weekends, and yes, when you are a child, you have your Wednesday afternoons and also the weekend here. For example, my mother works every weekend, but, okay, you need to say but, because you're talking about, you're contrasting, you're comparing adults with children. But children typically have both Wednesday afternoons. Pay attention to, like, here we need to focus on children. And here he says, and yes, when you are a child, you have. Try to sound more formal, try to sound more professional by saying children and then they have, okay, not you. So, but children typically have both Wednesday afternoons and weekends off. And here, okay, we need to give more details here. Okay, a great supporting argument with no obligations during those times. Okay, so here is our breakdown of improvements. Coherence and cohesion. The response is better structured, clearly separating examples and details. Grammar corrects errors like every weekend, not every weekends, but every weekend, right? And improves tense consistency. All right, vocabulary replaces simple phrases with more precise terms like typically and obligations. Fluency, the response sounds natural with clear connections between ideas and no unnecessary repetition. You don't want to repeat yourself several times, okay? All right. And that's it, guys. So if you have enjoyed this analysis, you could visit my website, which is IELTSTOEFL.com, and you can use this service, Speaking Correction Service. Good luck to all of you.